Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we're moving. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what's to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Get on. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Orders, wind and fire. Turn that we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the full chorus. Electric slide hit the bus sound. I'll do the body hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on, baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get all out and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause the beat is really grooving. Start to feel your body move. Gotta go up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor.
All right, family, feel the groove, get on the floor. Got to get on up. Now, normally I do a lot of other commercials, but I just wanted to get straight into it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are here with me, you are on the hottest live stream in the cosmos, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you are blessed and doing safe. This is Random Topic Thursdays. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in on Twitter, on Facebook, and Gavin Richard and GBoot2786, my YouTube channels. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to donate or contribute to the channel, please go to the Cash App, to the PayPal or Zelle or Venmo that you see there. I need you all to also hit that like button, please. Go to Amazon Kindle and get the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight our topics are as follows. Justice for Shanquella, discussing her mysterious death, the mysterious death of Shanquella Robinson. Tia Mowry had an awakening when divorcing Cory Hardrict. ADL and others come for Dave Chappelle after his SNL appearance. And breaking news, Donald Trump announces his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen. Now, speaking of Donald Trump, of course, today, I don't know if you all saw this as well, but it was announced that the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is stepping down. She's still going to be a member of Congress. However, she announced earlier today that she's stepping down from her leadership post. So that's something else that is interesting. Of course, I don't know who knows that attack that recently had on her husband, if that had anything to do with it. But I mean, she is in her 80s, and I can't say, and it's calling an end of an era. It was not a happy era, at least for me. But we're going to play a clip of that right now before I begin and bring in our special guest. Fair use, fair use.
I've always loved.
I hate these ads that they have. And it's got to be a 20-second ad at that.
Scripture teaches us that for everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. My friends, no matter what title you all, my colleagues, have bestowed upon me, speaker, leader, whip, there is no greater official honor for me than to stand on this floor and to speak for the people of San Francisco. This I will continue to do as a member of the House, speaking for the people of San Francisco, serving the great state of California, and defending our Constitution. And with great confidence in our caucus, I will not seek re-election to Democratic leadership in the next Congress. For me, the hours come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect. And I'm grateful that so many are ready and willing to shoulder this awesome responsibility. Madam Speaker, standing here today, I'm endlessly grateful for all of life's blessings, for my Democratic colleagues whose courage and commitment with the support of your families have made many of these accomplishments possible. In fact, could not have been done without you. For my dear husband, Paul, who has been my beloved partner in life and my pillar of support, thank you. We're all grateful for all the prayers and well wishes as he continues his recovery. Thank you so much.
So Nancy Pelosi is stepping down from her leadership post. Yeah, a bunch of people need to retire. She's in her freaking 80s. And she was interesting. She quoted scripture, and she doesn't know a damn thing. Acts like she doesn't know a damn thing about scripture with the stuff she supports. But that neither here nor there. I want to share this with you too. But did you all see this about this? Basically, in San Francisco, I'm glad she brought this up, but because I would have forgotten about it. But it was being reported now, according to Kate. This is coming from KTLA. I want y'all to see this. The city of San Francisco, the mayor London Breed announced a new campaign to get guaranteed income for the trans community in the city of San Francisco. So she represents the city of San Francisco, and or San Francisco, as Judge Joe Brown would say. And this is what this is what's going on in San Francisco. If you want to know why people are leaving California so at a rapid rate, here's why.
New guaranteed income pilot program for the city's trans community.
And Confer's Ella Sogomonian talked to local trans leaders. Ella, how are they reacting to this news?
Well, they tell me that it's been years in the making and that this money, particularly for this community, is so important because when you look at the numbers, trans people are disproportionately more likely to be impoverished, even in a state like California. The Guaranteed Income for Trans People, also known as GIFT, is a new program that will benefit 55 transgender people living in San Francisco for more than a year. Mayor London Breed has dedicated money from the general fund for the pilot program, spearheaded by Lyon Martin Community Health Services and the Transgender District.
So wait a minute, 55 trans residents. So you're telling me out of a city, San Francisco's population, according to Google, is listed at about 815,201 people as of 2021. And you mean to tell me 55 residents who identify as trans, and let's say there's going to be more, because if you actually gave this guaranteed income, what's to say somebody doesn't come forward and say they're trans and that number increase? I'm just curious. Guaranteed
Each
income.
person will get $1,200 per month to use as they please.
Wow.
I'm just really thrilled that the city of San Francisco is investing in its trans residents, especially as a community that is extremely vulnerable.
In the last statewide U.S. trans survey in 2015, it was revealed that 33% of trans Californians were living in poverty compared to 12% of the general population. Honey Mahogany, who founded the San Francisco Transgender District, explains even in a place like the Bay Area, trans people face discrimination by employers, making it harder to get higher paying jobs. So many move to San Francisco. It's considered a safe haven, but the exorbitant cost of living makes it hard to keep up.
You know, it's really, really great to see the city moving forward on trans issues, especially right now with everything that's happening in the country. So things like this really make me proud to be a San Franciscan.
To qualify for GIFT, applicants have to be 18 and older, be a San Francisco resident, and make $600 or less per month. And along with the
basically, that's anybody. That's anybody. Make $600 or less a month. Be 18 years or older. Ugh. Shit, I could qualify for that.
temporary
Shawn, you might
income
be able to get
recipients
it.
will be connected with a range of services, including mental health care and financial coaching. Applications will be accepted from November 15th through December 15th. In the newsroom, Ella Sigimoni and Quanfor News.
So, I'm dealing with my show first. All right. Are you trying to come in? Oh, that's Dad, everyone. I just saw this law. We're discussing Nancy Pelosi stepping down and so forth. But let's bring in the author of The Man Crisis, ladies and gentlemen. This law, San Francisco launches a transgender guaranteed income program, and they said only 55 residents. So they're launching that for 55 people. The author of The Man Crisis and now The Woman Crisis that you can find on Amazon and other book locations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shawn James. Good evening, Shawn.
Good evening, Gavin. How are you?
All right. I'm doing fine, man. What did you think of what we just saw with Nancy Pelosi stepping down from her leadership in Congress and this law in Frisco?
Well, what I think of Nancy Pelosi stepping down is she's just trying to get out of the way before a major scandal hits now that the House is going to go red and there's a whole lot of investigations going on. So she's looking to try to mitigate the damage to her professional reputation and her career. So that's why she wound up retiring from being the Speaker of the House. And she's also setting up a black guy to become the next big fall guy. So this is a two-pronged assault here. She wants to get away from this position, and she also wants to set this guy up as a chess move to be the next big fall guy.
The black guy.
Now, there's a black guy that they're proposing to be the interim speaker, and he's going to be set up to be the big fall guy.
Okay. Now, what you were about to say something else?
Well, I was about to start to talk about this abomination of a program that they're having for talking about universal basic income.
Yeah. Right. I'm sorry.
And,
Go ahead.
and this program is an insult to all of our veterans out here. You would think you would want to give universal basic income to our veterans because there are a lot of homeless veterans in San Francisco, men who went out and women who went out here and fought to defend this country. You would think you would put our soldiers first in line for these benefits, but what they do is take the money that are and use them as a vanity program, talking about a small group of individuals who basically are given a lot of tangible benefits all throughout the state of California. I mean, if I look at those qualifications, even I could qualify for that whole benefit. But I think the people who deserve that benefit are our U.S. soldiers, our veterans. And it's a real insult that they're going to do a pilot program and they're talking about getting people out of poverty when many of our soldiers, our veterans, they come back here, they get no support from the VA. They get no support from the city. These men go out here and put their lives on the line, and we just slap them in the face by saying, oh, we're just going to take these individuals who are part of the alphabet community, put them first in line in front of a woman who served their country, men and women who have gone out here and put their bodies and their minds on the line. It's a real insult that the city of San Francisco doesn't want to go out here and help out the homeless veterans and the struggling veterans who could benefit from this program. And once they got back on their feet, would go back and help the community.
Yeah, I think it's a waste of money. 55. Well, you saw the clip. 55 residents. So they had already counted the people that were there, and you're talking about a city that holds 800, almost 1 million people.
Yeah, it's a pork barrel project meant to hand free money to friends and cronies. And I really am insulted by this because you're taking taxpayers' dollars and you're not helping out the people who need this the most, the people like our veterans and many of the black men out here, because we have a large black male population, not thinking about helping giving those guys an income so that they can get back on their feet. No, this is just an identity politics pork barrel program that is just designed to give friends and cronies some free money at the expense of taxpayers.
Most definitely. Y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And speaking of politics, I was talking about this earlier. The breaking news, Shawn, that Donald Trump has announced his 2020 bid for the presidency again in 2024. My father's shaking his head. I know he's going to say stuff about Trump, but no, Dad, not now. So, well, I mean, you're sitting right there, and I'm hearing the noise in the back. Either you come in, Dad, or you got to close the door because the noise from the TV is distracting me. If you want to come in, come in. Oh, well, if you want to come back, you can. All right. So Trump announced his plan to run for the presidency again. He announced this on yesterday. Of course, there are some people who are up in a roar about it. A lot of people think he should not run again, obviously, after what happened his last term, 4 years in office back in starting in 2017. But let's go ahead and play a clip right now from Trump's bid. This is courtesy. I don't know if y'all can hear. Hold on a second. Why is this slow?
Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to make
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. The volume is down low. Let's see. Okay, can y'all hear?
Make America great and glorious again.
Right now.
I'm announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. So many incredible friends and family here tonight. It's such a beautiful thing. People say, how do you speak before so many people all the time? When there's love in the room, it's really easy. If you want to know that, really, you ought to try it sometime. Together, we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state, and we're in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This is a movement. This is not for any one individual. This is a job for tens of millions of proud people working together from all across the land and from all walks of life, young and old, black and white, Hispanic and Asian, many of whom we have brought together for the very, very first time. If you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happened with Hispanic, with African American, with Asian, if you look at what's happening, this is a party that has become much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful, can do much more good for our country.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
So I got a poll for y'all. Will you be voting for Donald Trump in 2024? That's on my YouTube channel, GBoo2786 page. I want you to give me a yes or no if you're going to be, or if you say undecided. Either way, what are your thoughts on Donald Trump running for president again? Would you vote for him or not? Or are you undecided? Give me a yes, no, or undecided. That's available right now. Of course, people were fact checking Trump about stuff he said on CNN. They put articles up, Shawn, I'm sure you saw, on Donald Trump. Of course, now he's their boogeyman. And Joe Biden, of course, they have Joe Biden. I think he has not confirmed whether he will run again or not as of yet, but more than likely he probably will. But I wanted to know what you think, Shawn, of Trump running for president again.
Well, here's the start of the circus once more. And the clown show will continue on with your Joker Joe Biden, who does nothing for people, and your Donald Trump, who is going to be up in an uphill battle with these far leftists. And the whole thing is, black people, I don't think we're getting anything out of the deal at all. I mean, when I look at this whole state, it just shows me how we live in the pathetic states of America. If this is the best as related to candidates, we're in a lot of trouble because it shows that America has a leadership problem. We don't have a vision or a direction, and we have people who are just basically brain dead voting for candidates for political parties and staying in the same dysfunctional codependent situation where there is no hope and no change for anybody because there's no way hope of making America great with all of these incompetent people at the top.
And CNN had this article written by Chris Saliza. He says, is Donald Trump going to sink Herschel Walker?
I think Herschel Walker sinks himself.
Well, he didn't sink himself recently, obviously, to get in the runoff with this man.
Well, that just shows you how bad the candidates are and how silly these American people are, because you don't choose between an idiot and an imbecile. You choose none of the above. I would rather choose third party than choose between an idiot and an imbecile.
Who's the imbecile in Georgia? Warnock?
Warnock is the imbecile and Herschel Walker is the idiot.
Well, you got to have somebody, Shawn.
Well, there's third party. I mean, people need to start doing some critical thinking.
But I mean, realistically, you know that third parties are not, even though they get on the ballot, they're not going to win realistically because everything everybody knows is by either their party affiliate or they like this person because they got on the right tie. That's it. They don't care about issues per se.
Well, that's embarrassing. I mean, that's why I call it the pathetic states of America, because instead of thinking outside of the box, they just continue to keep pulling the lever down for two bad choices instead of saying, look, it's just time for me to just move on.
Right. Because if we write a candidate in, we know that that candidate more than likely will not win. But I think the American people got to try it and decide more. Uh, Dick Gregory was a write-in candidate in the 1968 presidential race. I got to talk to him. I still have that interview with him. He got over 1 million votes. In fact, he's the reason why I believe Nixon won the presidency, because he took so many votes from the Democratic hopeful at that time, which I believe was Hubert Humphrey, who was running for president. He was the vice president under LBJ. But then you had and he was running with Mark Lane, by the way. Mark Lane, who was the great attorney, did a lot of research into John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King assassinations. But let me ask, someone said, you think DeSantis is going to run and get the nomination? I don't think DeSantis, while he's popular, I know DeSantis would carry Florida. I don't think his popularity is big in America, like talking about it. I certainly, and of course with Biden, a lot of people have not been impressed with Joe Biden. I don't think a lot of people are. Certainly they don't like Kamala Harris, and that might work in DeSantis's favor. And I think that would even work in Trump's favor. Now, if he brought DeSantis on as vice president, he might have something there. But Trump might be the only hope for the GOP. I don't see anybody else. But, this will be interesting. The circus starts again. But y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I'm going to look at my polls. I want to see what people wrote. I got 17% that say yes, 33% say no, and 50% say undecided. Well, I guess it is still early. But, when people say, how can you vote for Trump? He racist. Those are the people that really want you to vote Democrat, right?
Yeah.
That's really, they're loyal to the Democratic Party. G-Man says, it's difficult to vote for any candidate from either party. I agree. The Democrats take you for granted, and the Republicans ignore you. And that's really the problem. Now, I said this before on my last show on Sunday when I was talking with Marcel Dixon. I said, if the needle was going to move forward, I would meet with Donald Trump. I have no objections meeting with a Republican candidate if it was going to be productive. And I think you would agree, Shawn, if something was going to be productive that you get out of it, you would meet with them. I don't hold my emotions to that. And I think Black people, we have that problem. We get emotional with stuff. We get mad that Ice Cube wanted to meet. You had people like on SNL, and we'll talk about them in a minute. Remember when they did that skit with Ice Cube making fun of him calling him a Republican because he wanted to meet with Trump. He offered to meet with Joe Biden himself, and they wanted to hold him off till after the election. And now I think they finally met with him some 2 years later, but what has that gotten us?
There's no tangibles at all.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're powerless in this country. That's why Black people can't be racist. We can't control nobody's destiny. We can't control anybody's destiny. We can't stop people from eating where they want to go, or what schools they want to go to, or what neighborhoods they can't live in. I don't know anything about Karen Bass, Tyree. I know she won the race in Los Angeles, but I think it's a nothing burger. What does getting all of these Blacks elected in different seats, what does that do for us? What has that done? It has done absolutely nothing. It's done absolutely nothing. If this is going to be the same Los Angeles whose city council, those Hispanics on that city council who have not stepped down, that were talking shit about Black folks, and she's going to work with them, I'm not impressed with Karen Bass. I don't know nothing about her, and that's the only reason I won't say anything negative, but I think it's going to be another Democratic shield. That's my personal opinion. She's big on LGBTQ rights. I'm just reading it. She's big on LGBTQ. She's
Eric Adams in a skirt.
Huh?
I said Eric Adams in a skirt.
Yeah. She's big on gun control laws. She's supports the legislation to prohibit the sale, transfer, manufacture, and importation of semi-automatic weapons and ammunition feeding devices capable of accepting more than 10 rounds in the United States. Big no for that. She wants you around with 6 shooters. Why should I support that? And she had someone just recently broke into her home and stole her guns, according to this report. She's the second black person to be elected mayor of Los Angeles, and the first woman. First man was Tom Bradley, first black whatever. And we saw what happened with him under Rodney King. From 1973 to 1993, he was the mayor of Los Angeles. So for what, 20 years?
And it just got progressively worse.
Yeah, what does it do? And he was a former cop.
Because these candidates are useless unless we pick them and we put the agenda in front of them.
Yeah. Karen Bass Fish. I'm Karen Bass Pro Shop.
She's a useless bootlick just meant to go do the dirty work of the far left.
What is her record with blacks in the community? Now, Karen Bass, of course, you know, was a representative in the Congressional House. She had been serving she's been in that district since 2011. The 37th Congressional District. So she covered south and west of downtown Los Angeles. And she's a member of the CBC. That's not helpful either. So, I mean, I'm not impressed with this. Now, she supports the George Floyd Policing Act, but we know that never got passed. And now with the House of Representatives being controlled by the Republicans, and I think the Senate is still up for grabs because you got Georgia. You know, something else about this LGBTQ thing, they have this Respect for Marriage Act that passed in the Senate, the testing phase, if you saw it, and it was joined by Republicans and Democrats, but they included in that, Shawn, I don't know if you know this, interracial marriages as well as same-sex marriages, but really it's about the same-sex marriages, because if they did it just same-sex, they knew it wouldn't have the support that they would now that they had to add the interracial marriage aspect of it. But honestly and truthfulness, I don't think that's even going to pass. Not with this House being Republican. And if you have the Senate now, if Herschel Walker wins Georgia, they got 49 Republicans, 48 Dems. Then you're going to have a real problem. So do you think this was this big? I had a question for you, Shawn. Do you think that it really, there was a real red wave because they're trying to say it fizzled?
Well, I would have to say that it fell apart because, I don't know, a lot of these women got emotional and riled up about abortion. Then you got the Gen Z that bought into the gimmick that Joe Biden pushed as related to student loan forgiveness. And that's what led to the United States of America becoming the pathetic states of America, because instead of there being a red wave, which we really should have had because of the way these leftists basically disrespected the American people got in their feelings and got tricked into going out here and voting against their interests because they got caught up in abortion, which they thought, oh, this is my body, my choice, when really they were putting this abortion in front of their own economic security and their own freedom. And then you had these kids going out here thinking they were going to get this student loan debt forgiveness, and they got played. So the American people got played and that's what led to a lot of people just running out here and taking their booties to the polls and voting against their own interest.
So you think that the red wave fizzled, but do you think the Democrats won?
No, they didn't win. I look at the whole big picture, and they're about to lose big long term, because if these kids can't get their tangibles, and then many of these women are broke and struggling, we may see this whole blue attempt to try to go out here and plague people wind up backfiring on them.
Hey, computer robots. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. So we heard this, Donald Trump running for president again. I mentioned Saturday Night Live, Shawn. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. You had a group of people that were upset with your Dave Chappelle. He made an appearance hosting Saturday Night Live this past weekend. And among the things he talked about was your Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. And he made jokes about Jewish people, including in that. Now, I actually saw the monologue, and I won't play it because NBC, even if you play a clip of anything from Saturday Night Live, you get a copyright strike. So I won't play it, but what I will tell you is that this happened over the weekend. You had the ADL chief, the Anti-Defamation League chief, who blasted Dave's monologue as, quote, normalizing anti-Semitism. Jonathan Greenblatt said comedians SNL bit on Jews in Hollywood diminishes, polarizes Jew hatred. But it says here also most Jewish leaders refrain from weighing in on controversy. We shouldn't expect Dave Chappelle to serve as society's moral compass, but disturbing to see SNL not just normalize but popularize anti-Semitism. Why are Jews' sensitivities denied or diminished at almost every turn? Why does our trauma trigger applause? Now, in monologue, the runtime on that was over, I counted at least 14, 15 minutes, and only 2 minutes he talked about growing up around Jews, and he said, every one of them, all of them, we all had a lot in common, they all look like Run DMC and stuff like that, and they say, we're doing the Rosh now. What's the hell is that? And stuff like that. So he was joking about that, and he talked about how 2 things I don't mess with. I don't mess with anything with this, and I don't mention anything to Jews. Anything that says the Jews means it's not going to end good or something like that. And he commented and threw something in there about how we didn't cause the Holocaust and so forth. So I'm sorry, I was Reverend Childers. I had invited him to come on. Hold on, he's texting me. So, and they were even talking about how they were going to boycott SNL, the writers supposedly, over over jokes Dave did with transphobic, but that didn't happen. They calling it anti-Semitic. Rabbi Abraham Cooper said Dave Chappelle had the power to put anti-Semites in their place, and this is how That's how his SNL monologue began. By the end, he mainlined some of the worst core resurgent anti-Semitic tropes. Now, Dave Chappelle is a comedian. He is not Martin Luther King Jr. He is not a civil rights leader. And Dave went in on some stuff, making fun of Kanye West. And he said, ironically, Adidas was founded by the Nazis and they were offended. I guess the students surpassed the teacher. And I've been to Hollywood and no one get mad at me. I'm just telling you what I saw. He said, it's a lot of Jews, like a lot. And so they were upset at that. And you had one fool, I got to talk about this, a black person at that, who actually went at Dave Chappelle. He said from NPR, said, Eric Deegan said Dave Chappelle's monologue disappoints on Saturday Night Live. So I'm going to read just briefly what he says here, but he said, the following: no one walks a rhetorical tightrope as deftly as Dave Chappelle. That thought nagged at me while watching Chappelle's widely anticipated appearance last night on Saturday Night Live, where his guest hosting stints have major electoral events after major electoral events have become something of a tradition. But Chappelle didn't devote much of his monologue to the midterm elections, even though news had broken early in the day that Democrats had defied expectations to likely retain control of the Senate. He spent more time talking about Kanye West and anti-Semitism. Now, that modus operandi. Now, he goes on. I'm not going to read all of it. He was upset, basically, that he didn't talk about the elections. And what he had to say about Jews. He said, he also joked about Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving, who was suspended after posting a link to an anti-Semitic film called Hebrew to Negroes, Wake Up Black America, that asserted the Holocaust never happened. Chappelle noted Irving's black ass was nowhere near the Holocaust. One line in particular seemed to stun the audience before they offered scattered applause. I know the Jewish people have been through some terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. What that has to do with a professional athlete posting an anti-Semitic film with no explanation, and then taking several long days to disavow film's anti-Semitic content, I do not know. What I do know is that one of comedy's boldest and most incisive voices had a chance to lend insight to the long struggle Black America's had with anti-Semitism, but instead his monologue seemed filled with justification and minimization. Mentioned, for instance, allegation that he had expressed admiration for Nazi leader Adolf. First off, let me say this. Dave Chappelle is a comedian. He is not a political leader. He was doing on the stage on SNL, which they always do, which is to crack jokes. And you say here how black people have had to struggle with anti-Semitism. What about our black grandfathers, like mine, who fought in World War II against Adolf Hitler and could not get housing in the suburbs from people like the Levitt brothers, who put in, Jewish people, by the way, that put covenant restrictions on blacks living in the suburbs. They created the modern suburbs. You know that?
Yeah.
A guy named the Levitt brothers did this, but it was restrictive. The Levitt brothers, that Levitt group, I believe that's part of there today. They were a group of real estate developers. They had discriminatory practices. William Levitt. And this fool, Diggins, doesn't even talk about that, but you want to attack Dave Chappelle for telling a joke. They always come at the black comedians for jokes. Just like you can't do comedy anymore today. Everybody gets offended. What about Mel? If you're that mad, what about how Mel Brooks makes fun of the Holocaust? Mel Brooks always spoofs Adolf Hitler. You know that?
Oh, I know. I watch a lot of Mel Brooks movies.
History of the even in Blazing Saddles, the racial humor he did, the use of the word nigger in that. All of his movies, the producers. He wrote a song called Springtime for Hitler. But that's William Levitt you see on the screen. But what did you think of this, Shawn, about this attack on Chappelle?
I think this attack is unfounded and unsubstantiated. I sat down and watched Dave Chappelle's sketch, and he didn't say anything anti-Semitic at all. I mean, they have Dave Chappelle like he's some sort of guy like Adolf Hitler making statements about hating Jews, but that wasn't any part of his whole comedy routine. When I listened to his comedy routine, it was a very objective analysis as related to the whole anti-Semitism narrative, and he really does make a good commentary about the anti-black racism that is being done in the case of your Kyrie Irving. And when I look at this whole situation again, nobody ever says what Kyrie Irving did wrong, and nobody ever says what Dave Chappelle did wrong. It's like what they want to do is use religion to hide behind, to throw a rock at black men. And really, this is another way to go after black men by proxy, by trying to make black men the boogeyman in the room, by trying to put an anti-Semitic label on black men. And this is another way that they're trying to go after black men after the failed Me Too campaign that went after Bill Cosby, where they were trying to demonize black men as sexual predators. And with that whole campaign falling completely apart, what they now want to do is start a campaign to say black men are the face of anti-Semitism. And we all see through this whole phony narrative, because what they're trying to do with this phony narrative is demonize black men, make black men the boogeyman, and say, oh, this black man, he's being an anti-Semite, when he's presenting an objective observation through his comedy. When I listened to Dave Chappelle's whole monologue, it was basically an objective analysis, something we haven't seen in most mainstream media. And the whole thing is what they're trying to do is trying to go out here and trying to go after another black man. And what black men need to understand that this is about trying to take away your constitutional right to go out here and have your freedom of speech, your constitutional right to be able to express yourself. And they've been trying to do this with your Kanye West. But when people started to make commentary about his mental health, they realized they couldn't go that way. When they tried to go after Kyrie Irving, they realized they couldn't go that way because the link he presented really wasn't anti-Semitic, because it had a Streisand effect. And once you had the Streisand effect, you had more people going out here to watch said documentary, Hebrews to Negroes, and that whole thing blew up in their face. And now they're trying to make Dave Chappelle the bad guy, but there's no way you can make him a bad guy for just expressing himself. What they're ironically doing is exposing themselves as the real racists. And these people who are pushing this agenda, what they're doing is exposing that what they want to do is go out here and participate in anti-black racism, and they want to destroy a black man. And they also want to go out here by proxy and go out here and create a legal standard under the unwritten social rules to say that a black man doesn't have the same rights that anybody else has under the Constitution. They want to deny black people their right to free speech, their right to freedom of expression, their right to freedom of religion. And they want to go out here and do this by using one religious group to throw the rocks and then hide the white supremacist hands. And what they want to do is make themselves out to be a victim, when in actuality they are the perpetrators and they don't want to be held accountable. So every time somebody tries to hold them accountable for their behavior, what they do is hide behind this religion and push a victim narrative. But this time they can't seem to do it because black people are starting to stand up for themselves. And as black people stand up for themselves, what's happening is They're seeing that black people are willing to take their dollars elsewhere, and that's got a lot of these people scared. And that's why you're seeing all this backpedaling as related to these allegations.
Exposed. They've gotten exposed with this stuff. A lot of people are catching on to it. I think John, shout out to Harvey. John Stewart did a video, defended Dave Chappelle. John Stewart, who was Jewish, he defended him from charges of anti-Semitism. Same thing with Jerry Seinfeld, who's Jewish. He said that Dave Chappelle has opened up a monologue, a dialogue with his comedy. You know, Seinfeld and Stewart, who have both been doing stand-up for years, they know the game. It's comedy.
Yeah.
Just like when Mel Brooks did Blazing Saddles, he spoofed racial prejudice in the 1800s in the Wild Wild West. It's, you know, Norman Lear, who's Jewish, and he did All in the Family. Now, say what you want about Norman Lear, whether you like him or not, I give him credit where credit is due in regards he created, obviously, one of the most successful sitcoms of all time that people are still talking about to this day. You know, TV like All in the Family and Sanford and Son, that will never be replicated. Because you can't show it today because it's changed. The world has changed. So yeah, I mean, he's opened a dialogue about stuff. It's comedy, and that's what comedians do. Their job is spoof. You know, Lorne Michaels, who is Jewish, you know, who's Jewish, he brings Chappelle on because he knows it's about money with him. But yeah, Seinfeld said he hopes his monologue brings the right kind of dialogue. And me personally, I've never been a fan necessarily of Jerry Seinfeld, but I respect Seinfeld because he's been in the business longer than I have. And guess what? He has made, whether he's funny or not, he may not be funny, but he's all about his money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's a multi-millionaire. But y'all, you know, people really need to grow up. I'm so sick of this. You get offended by the least little thing. This is not something we should be debating about. And Eric Deegans is complaining because people are calling him out on Twitter. He said, they attacked my blackness. You attacked another black man on BS. That's the problem. If his monologue was going to be that offensive, why did Lorne Michaels invite him, who's Jewish, invite him on the show? The writers on the SNL are Jewish. Not all of them. The comedians that are there. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button, man.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
All right, in the meantime, while we wait for Shawn, why don't we do this, guys? I want to play a video. Of course, you can see this now on my YouTube channel. You can see this trailer for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby, the destruction of due process in the United States, that's available on Amazon. We're going to run that right quick again. Y'all, again, get that on Kindle as we speak, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin and Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jell-O, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights,
okay, I'm back.
It was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is available on Amazon Kindle. Shawn, as the editor of the book, you enjoyed it. What can you tell everybody about it?
I can tell everybody that it's a very objective and balanced book, very well written book, very solidly put together book, and presents all of the facts as related to the Cosby trial and will give you an objective analysis so that you can make your own decisions regarding Bill Cosby's innocence.
That's right. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. Y'all available on Amazon Kindle. Coming to paperback real soon. I know I've been saying it. It's just been difficult dealing with Amazon, trying to get the things in paperback. I'm sure Shawn never has this trouble with it, but just a matter of working dimensions and so forth and changing stuff. But it'll be available soon. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is this Tia Mowry, Shawn, stating that she had a quote awakening that led to her divorce from her husband, Cory Hardrict, of 14 years. Now, Shawn has a video on his channel. I have not had the opportunity to look at yet, but
it premieres on Sunday.
Yes, but you have commented already on the divorce.
Yeah.
And you actually had a Facebook post you put up earlier about all of the women from the 90s. You mentioned Nia Long, Jada Pinkett Smith, Tia Mowry, and Halle Berry, who are all belong in Bust Downtown. Damn, just damn that you wrote. With Nia Long, I haven't heard much about Nia. Nia is pretty good.
Well, I'm just saying as related to the whole Emi Udoka situation.
I mean, was that tip her fault that he cheated?
I don't know.
But let's go look at this video right quick. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Like women, we tend to focus on everybody else's happiness, making sure that everybody else is okay, meaning our children. Meaning, our children, our friends, our, family. But at the end of the day, it's about self-love. And when you start to really work on yourself, love yourself, know your value, know your worth, and then all of a sudden there's this awakening.
14 years. They knew each other essentially when they were I want to say young adults, because she was married to him for 14 years, but she was dating him, I think, several years before that. And Hardrict, he's been an actor since the late 90s. You don't know you've seen him in some films and so forth, but that he has been in. But don't see him in a lot of stuff. But nevertheless, his wife divorces him after 14 years. What's the point of getting married then if you didn't have self-love for yourself in the beginning? Tyree said she has no shame. She allowed her ego and bad influences getting the best of her. Judah Queen said, what was the point of getting married? You would never divorce him. I don't know what goes on. That's their private life. It's their business. Yes, that's true. But here's the thing. When you're a public figure, your life is public to everyone. And you actually go on live television like Hoda and Jenna and talk about why you divorced your husband of 14 years with your 2 kids. And then starting to take pictures of yourself like you're this single woman doing it only. I mean, have you seen the pictures of Tia?
Oh, I've seen them over the years.
Oh, these 30 pictures she's had put up since.
Oh, I've seen those.
I'm like, damn. It's like Tia. Sylvester Stallone was actually getting divorced too, but he and his wife have reconciled apparently. But as a man, I mean, would you be? What's the purpose of getting married?
That's the question I ask.
I mean, marriage is a status thing too, Shawn. And I think every woman, at some point, I shouldn't say every woman, but most women, I think, is safe. They want to be married. I think that's a fair argument.
That's a fair argument.
They like that because marriage is the highest point of a relationship. Right?
Yeah.
It's the highest form of a relationship. It's blessed it comes from God. So women want to be married. But it's hard, but as men today, you're also seeing, Shawn, there is a decrease in marriage, in the amount of people getting married. And I think a lot of it has to do with the court system. Because marriages are hard, they're built tough, but they're not lasting long till death,
Yeah.
Especially in Hollywood. So what did you think of what she said when she has an awakening?
I think that's just complete and utter bullshit. And the reason why I think it's complete and utter bullshit is because she's sitting there talking about an awakening when she was originally supposed to be following God, and she was originally supposed to have a covenant with God in marriage. And then all of a sudden, she's out here talking about this awakening, when this awakening, I believe, is just her fear of getting older because 2 of her relatives passed away. And now she's fearing her own mortality. And because she fears her own mortality, she has lost her relationship with God and now is looking to walk away from God and now looking to try to go out on her own, not understanding that there have been many more women who have went down this road, and they didn't find any awakening. They didn't find anything that would help them become better women. No, what they wound up was becoming more miserable in their own company. And as they went out here looking for what I call in the woman crisis a better deal, many of these women wound up with a raw deal as they took a trip down to Bust Downtown. And your Tia Mowry sadly is on the road to Bust Downtown. And in that whole interview, she's sitting there talking about how her marriage was a success. Well, successful marriages don't end up in divorce. When you have a successful marriage, it goes on until death do you part because both partners understand that they are making vows to the Most High. And as they're making their vows to the Most High, they put the Most High above everything else. Moreover, they put their children above everything else. But when you have women who are influenced by the Jezebel spirit, what they do is go out here looking to just be it being all about them when it stopped being about you when you first got married and made your vows to the Most High. And it also stopped being about you when you became pregnant and you both of you were having these children. When it all your whole about you ends when you make your vows to God to become one in marriage, and it further ends when your kids wind up needing you, and their kids need you to help take care of them, help them navigate the world, and help them have learn what a relationship with the Most High is. That is your job as a parent, and your Tia Mowry wants to abdicate that responsibility because she's afraid of getting older. She's afraid of not accomplishing anything in life, not understanding that we're supposed to be working towards meeting the Most High standards, and that's where she's winding up losing. She talks again, talking double speak because, oh, my marriage was a success, but the whole thing is, again, successful marriages go on until death do you part. You don't part out of a successful marriage. No, the only people who leave a marriage is because they failed in a relationship. And when I listened to the things that she was saying, it just came across to me as just complete doublespeak BS. And again, looking for a way to call herself going for happiness, not understanding that there have been many women who have been on this road to so-called happiness. And I read about many of them when I was doing my research for the woman crisis. And many of those women who were on their quest to get this better deal again wound up not finding that happiness they were looking for. No, all they got was a raw deal as they wound up sitting in bus downtown in that apartment with a view of the graveyard.
Yeah. We have kids. I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, I know. It's the internet. I gotta do something about the studio, man. I need a new house. Y'all want to help crowdfund me for a new home? I'm accepting donations. Yeah, I'm my own damn house. I need my own. I need. How about better internet in my area? That works. You know, the area in the house I have, even when I use the extension, for some reason, it's still I can still get frozen up for some reason. But let me like if I try and click it, I don't want to click it now because it's the main one is working as we speak. But yeah, but let me just ask you this in closing, Shawn. We got one more topic, but do you don't think it's worth it for men to be married today? I'm just curious.
I think that men should be married if they're going to do a covenant under the Most High, not a contract under the state. So if you're following the Most High, you can be married under the covenant of God, but you can't really get married under the state contract because the state's contract basically de-incentivizes marriage because many of these women, they want to end a marriage for the most arbitrary and trivial reasons, and that puts an entire family in crisis. And it doesn't give a man an incentive to go out here and build a family or build a home, because all the woman will do is yank the rug out from under that man in order to call herself going to monkey branch to another man. But all that does is, again, makes it where a man has no incentive to marry. And I talk about this in depth in The Woman Crisis, about how this feminist mindset of women talking about being like Tia Mowry, going out here and going to go find themselves or get their so-called turn, leads to men turning away from marriage and prevents men from wanting to go out here and build a family under God's order.
Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Next story is the last one, that one. And I know Shawn has probably heard of this. This is a young lady by the name of Shanquella Robinson, who has died at the age of 25 years old after flying out on a trip with 5 friends to Cabo, Mexico, where they told her family, her mother, that she had died from alcoholic poisoning. Where in fact now, according to an autopsy released by Miss Robinson's mother, we found that Miss Robinson had a broken spine, which appeared to have been that she was beaten to death. That couldn't have been alcoholic poisoning. As of now, no charges have been filed, but had been circling online where it alleged to have been Shanquella Robinson being beat up by one of her so-called friends. A housekeeper found her dead body inside their Airbnb, her mother told Essence magazine. After struggling to retrieve Shanquella's body from the country, her mother said the autopsy stated that she died from being beaten. When the autopsy came back, they said it didn't have anything to do with the alcohol. Salamandora revealed. They said that she had a broken neck and her spine in the back was cracked. She had been beaten. A shocking video, which is a 16-second clip, has been circulating, which appeared to show her in a fight where she didn't fight back, by the way. But the video, which has more than 1 million views on social media, shows one of the young ladies on the trip in a physical altercation with a person that claims to be Shanquella. The video shows a moment when the attacker flung the victim by her neck, landing on the ground, then continues to pummel her in the head and neck areas. Other friends who were onlookers during the altercation began recording their fight. Footage from the fight is almost unbearable to watch as Shanquella receives blow after blow without fighting back. One person in the room could be heard saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" And in pain, she answered, "No." The question, though, I have, and it sounded like this was a dude that was recording this, is why his ass didn't intervene and stop and break up the fight. Why is it everybody wants to record shit when shit goes down and not intervene? It's like what happened with Takeoff in Houston when he gets shot. The first thing these niggas want to do is record for likes and shares and subscribes and clickbait. I remember when the brother was talking about that. His name escapes me right now, but he told people to stop circulating that video. And I understood where he's coming from. But my heart, and I'm going to play some video footage from the brother from Houston, Isaiah Carey, who had my friend Dennis Sperling, the attorney, on. My heart really goes out to her mother, Salamandora, and her father, because they deserve to have answers and questions. Now, let me tell you from a legal standpoint, because this happened in Mexico, so there's a jurisdiction issue as to whether or not they can charge her with murder. Shanquella Robinson with these kids with murder, because they're not even, the people who they've named involved in it, they're not answering their social medias and stuff. It happened in Mexico, so they would have to be charged in Mexico. However, from a legal standpoint, as an attorney with a crime, even plotting to commit a felony if you did it with a group of individuals, Shawn, it's still a felony in and of itself. So if they did, and I'm saying alleged because we don't know the facts, and in America, you are innocent until proven guilty, but let's say they went there planning to gang up and kill her, for instance. Then if a prosecutor can prove that off, the cops got information to say that they premeditated this, then there is something called, in Louisiana, we call it inciting a felony. There's also called conspiracy to commit murder. The definition of a criminal conspiracy is in the Louisiana books, and it's everywhere, I believe, in your penal code. You call them accessories before the fact. We call them principles in Louisiana. And if you are a principal to commit with the conspiracy to commit a felony, conspiracy to commit a murder, for instance, that is still a crime. And if they originated that in a state here in the United States, they could be prosecuted for that. There's a strong possibility that could happen. It depends on what the evidence is, right? So I'm going to play this video from Brother Isaiah Carey because this was sickening to look at. And Shawn, I don't know if you saw the clip.
I saw the clip.
It was disturbing that you had individuals that didn't even intervene. And it's a so-called friend. And I'm going to tell you this, people. You need to be mindful, my Black people especially. You need to be mindful who you call your friends. A true friend wouldn't stand around and watch you get beat up. A true friend wouldn't harm you. They sure as hell wouldn't lie to your mother about how you died. Now, I don't know everything that happened. Our guess is as good as everyone else's. They obviously, the family had this information. I don't have it. If I'm going off what the family said, yeah, I believe, my opinion, she was murdered. And she deserves justice. Because if I were her father and looking at that, and I'm saying this even, I'm not speaking as Gavin Richard, the attorney, and I'm getting a little emotional, but had that been my daughter, somebody would have to pay. If I had to move hell on earth, they wouldn't sleep. Going to jail would be the least of their worries. I'm careful with my words. But I'm saying if I was their father, this is a hypothetical. I'm being safe. I'm not encouraging violence. I gotta be clear, but had I been my daughter and her spine and neck were broken, I would feel like doing the same thing to them. Or worse. You saw Law-Abiding Citizen? Shawn, with Jamie.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, watch it. With Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx. Everybody knows the scene I'm talking about when Gerard Butler got back at the rapist and murderer of his wife and daughter. You saw what he did to him. And he waited 10 years to do it, to make sure it was right. I'm disgusted by this, but let's look at this clip.
Joining us tonight, we begin with a disturbing story out of Mexico. Shanquella Robinson went on vacation with a group of friends for a birthday celebration in October.
Fair use.
Shanquella never made it back to the United States. She was dead within 24 hours of getting off the airplane. Now, Shanquella's
gorgeous girl, by the way. She's pretty, huh?
Yep.
Mother says her daughter's friends initially told her the 25-year-old died from alcohol poisoning. But the autopsy is telling a totally different story, that she may have been beaten to death. New video shows those so-called friends attacking Shanquella Robinson on vacation.
Look, can you at least fight back?
Fast forward.
At least something.
That's horrible. The case has many people wondering exactly what happened. Justice for Shanquella has been trending on Twitter, and the Twitter has been exactly what happened. Justice for Shanquella has been trending on Twitter, and the FBI is now involved. We're following the investigation as well. Joining us here on The Factor Uncensored, Todd Smith and attorney Dennis Sperling. Dennis, you travel abroad all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you keep up with all the international laws and how it could affect you. When many people think because this murder happened in Mexico, it would be in their jurisdiction, it would be for them to investigate. But that's not always the way it works in America.
That's absolutely correct. You're an American citizen and you do something abroad, the United States still could have jurisdiction over you if that jurisdiction does not decide to prosecute you.
And it looks like Mexico has no interest in following up on this, right?
Mexico sees an American citizen and another American citizen or American citizens having a dispute. It ended in someone's death. And now everybody's back in North Carolina, allegedly. This is where these folks are from. But bottom line is, it's in the hands of the federal government at this point if they decide to prosecute.
Now, looking at this case, just how horrible is it? You go out of this country with your so-called friends.
Yeah.
They lie to your mother, saying that you're drunk and that you're sick. And they,
I got to stop right quick.
Kill her.
Well, you know, I've done some investigation.
These are idiots too. If you're going out to kill somebody, not that I'm condoning it, why would you record the shit and upload it on social media? That's evidence. This is stupid. They're stupid. Am I right?
Yeah, they are.
These are idiots.
Into this, and looks like all of the individuals attended the HBCU Winston-Salem University, so they've been knowing each other for some time. And what I see is female on female brutality going on. And if you check the statistics, it appears as though women and their propensity to do violence and be arrested and go to prison is going up. While on the other hand, men, their propensity to do violence is going down. Just in the case of Black American men, there was a time we had more men in college or more men in prison than in college, and now the opposite is true. But unfortunately, our lovely ladies are kicking up some dust.
Horrible situation. Todd, your thoughts on seeing this, where these individuals went out of town as friends, and now one is dead, and they lied about it. Now many of them are getting on social media trying to tell their story, their side, but it's just unforgivable.
I think you said it right earlier. You said so-called friends. People have to be careful about who we call friends. There's a meme that's going around that says you could be friends with somebody for years, and it takes you years to realize they were never your friend. A lot of times I get a gut feeling when I think something is wrong. I don't know their situation totally, but a lot of times when I'm put in bad situations, I'll feel it and I'll remove myself from that situation. I just won't show up. But the thing is, to kill her, allegedly, whatever happened, 24 hours after y'all gotten there, there had to be some animosity beforehand. I tell people a lot of times, people in the hood, we always say, I want my day one friends with me. I want the friends that were with me when I didn't have anything to be there with me when I blow up. This is a young lady, 25 years old, all of them went to Winston-Salem. She had a successful business, beautiful. That might lead to some jealousy. And jealousy will rear its ugly head. So a lot of times when you're down and out, people will have your back because that makes them feel good about themselves. But the minute you do well, that's when the animosity comes. So young people need to realize that sometimes you need to pay attention to the people who might be giving you smart comments when you find success. Those people are not your friends. Just because you've known them a long time doesn't mean they're your friends. So you have to be really cognizant of the people you keep around you. I just keep family around me for the most part, but keep the right people around you so you probably won't be in this situation.
And Dennis, do we know, and I heard some rumors that she may have paid for some of them to go there.
Yeah, and that is a tragedy. But my advice to that mother, if you're listening, if you're following this program, and I hope you are, I want to make sure you stay on the FBI. You make reports with the local police. You follow up with the FBI agent assigned to this, and you make sure this gets in front of the Attorney General in North Carolina, because that is where you're going to get justice. The other thing is, there's always an opportunity to file a civil suit against these individuals for wrongful death. It's a different process, but it's the same courthouse, but it's a lesser burden of proof, and you can get to the truth of what happened in this matter.
Unless they have substantial resources, so is it worth it?
Well, sometimes justice requires that you do what's necessary.
What he's saying
And I
about
think
the
that
civil
if
suit, let me
it
pause
was
this
my
right quick.
son,
Let me pause this right quick though, because to hop on what Dennis is saying. As you know, Shawn, what he's saying is absolutely correct. Civil court, civil damages are different than civil court is obviously different from criminal court, and the burden of proof is much lower. There's preponderance of the evidence when you're talking about a wrongful death suit. And if you sue someone and all of the stuff comes out that a crime had or has taken place, especially a murder, then if it is a substantial likelihood that a district attorney's office could reopen or open a case against that person. A la Bill Cosby. Remember when they said no criminal charges were coming and they forced him so he could be forced to take a deposition. Then 10, 12 years later, to have Kevin Steele reopen this case when his predecessor said no. They reopen it and use a deposition of a settled case to prosecute Bill Cosby. And here in this case, I would file lawsuits against these individuals. Fuck them. And it saddens me even worse to hear that she even paid for them to come out. And they do this, allegedly.
Well, my daughter, if I had a daughter, I got sons. But if it was my sons, there would be nothing that would stop me from finding out the truth and making sure the people who caused my child's death, if it was truly murder or killing, I would want to bring them to justice one way or the other.
Now, you've been doing some deep diving into this. What else have you found out that maybe the public doesn't know just as of yet, Dennis?
Well, as I said earlier, all of them, the alleged assailants attended Winston-Salem. So that means they've been knowing each other for at least half a decade. They know each other. They're familiar with each other. And when you listen to the voices in the background, I hear multiple people witnessing this incident. Now, all of those individuals had a duty to come to the aid of that victim. They can't just say, "Oh, I didn't do anything." Everybody is subject to that murder, alleged murder. The other thing I want you to understand is that, and I'm going to say this, and this may sound controversial, but if this was a little white girl, I'm sure it would be all over the news right now. But because it was a young black woman, I feel, and this is because I've seen it play out, and you can't even name the number of black women that are missing. There are so many black women that are missing in the United States. There's been no public uprising because she doesn't have the complexion for protection, as we used to say.
All right. Dennis, Todd, thank you for joining us here on The Factor on Sense.
Shawn, Dennis said a lot there. And I believed him when he said this. I think because the fact that this is a black girl, it's not getting the recognition on mainstream media. We don't see it on CNN. I haven't heard anything on CNN about it. Nothing on Fox News, of course. And not even MSNBC. I haven't seen anything like this, but social media has kept it alive. New black media has kept this alive. We want justice for Shanquella. And if these individuals are responsible, they got to pay. If it's alleged that they murdered her, or they have not been charged, they are innocent till proven guilty. I get all of that. I'm a lawyer. But if this were these allegations offend me, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer, I wear my hat better than most lawyers here on YouTube and anywhere. But I'm for what's right as well. This disgusts me. This is abhorrent. Even watching that video is abhorrent. Go ahead and make your statements, brother.
I was deeply disturbed when I heard about this incident this morning and I was deeply disgusted by it because it took me back to days when I was in junior high school, and I was with some guys who I thought were my friends, and those guys basically set me up by stealing my comic books when I was 13 years old, and it was a hard lesson for me in what happens when you don't know who your friends are. And sadly, your Shanquella Robinson didn't know who her friends were, and these so-called friends were actually enemies, and many of these enemies were sitting there jealous of her success, and they were so jealous of her success that their envy was possibly a motive for murder, and they were so caught up in their feelings of envy and jealousy toward Shanquella that they basically took her to Mexico. They took the trip to Mexico and turned it into a murder. And that's the
Yes.
most disturbing thing for me as related to this, that these she thought she could trust these.
It's a borderline snuff film with whoever was recording that.
Yeah, it's these women were sociopaths to do this. And what's even more sociopathic was these women had no regard for this woman's life, and they were basically taping her life, her death, and making it like it was entertainment for them. That is the most disturbing thing about this whole case, was how little regard they had for Shanquella Robinson's life. I mean, if these reports are true and she financed this trip, these women hated her to the point where they wanted to kill her. And they just waited till they got to Mexico so that they think they could get away with murder. But I'm hoping and praying that the FBI does go out here and charge them with a federal crime, because these women, they are just sick and evil. And again, this is just clear malice of forethought, because this is a planned murder if you really think about the evidence and the alleged evidence. I mean, here are people who knew beforehand that they had malice of forethought as they were going on this trip. They were planning to take this woman's life. And what's even more disturbing is that they possibly ambushed this woman as she came out the shower and viciously beat her up, if this video is the video. And they led to this woman's dying. And what's even more unethical is that they all went out here, had their little vacation, left her body in Cabo San Lucas, and then came back to North Carolina and told the story to her parents. Oh, she died of alcohol poisoning, just showing me how just they had depraved indifference to her life and human life overall. You're going to sit there and tell the parents, oh, she died of alcohol poisoning, knowing all good and well that the coroner's report was going to say something different, and you were going to try to use Mexico as a way to get away with the murder of a black woman, because you knew that the Mexican criminal justice system would not regard a black life. This just shows how evil these individuals are. And these are the type of people, they belong in the supermax. They belong in hell as I see it, because that's just how evil these people are. And again, it just took me back to some of my darkest days when I was a kid. And again, I thank God I came out of it with just getting all my comic books back, because if this is the level of evil that we see from these kind of people, I know how bad it can get. I mean, from my own personal experience, I know how evil people can be and how jealous they can get over somebody having success or confidence, and they will look to destroy that person. I know from my own personal experience about dealing with this kind of evil, how sick these kind of people are. And again, it just hurt my heart to hear this story, because I know from my own personal experience about dealing with this kind of evil. And again, these kind of people, they sit there and they'll plan with malice of forethought for an extended period of time. And it's that malice of forethought, that's what the prosecutors are going to have to go out here and prove in this case. But I believe they'll have no problem proving that, because when it comes down to these kind of individuals, they come together as a group to do the violence. But when they start thinking about the prison time, they start flipping on each other. But that's the whole thing, is just that I think about it again, just the most evil, reprehensible thing you could do. Because if you just don't like a person, just leave them alone. Don't go out here and hurt a person. But the lesson here for everyone, as related to Shanquella Robinson, is that we really have to look out for who we get involved with, who we call our friends, because not every friend is a friend. A lot of people pretend to be your friend, but they're actually an enemy looking to go out here and do harm to you.
It's like the old 1971 song Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong wrote, "Smiling faces sometimes they don't tell the truth."
Nope.
And beware of the handshake that hides a snake, because that's what this is. And the fact that they left her body, and concocted some bullshit story, that tells me they did this on they. I believe they had to have planned this.
I believe they had malice
They
aforethought.
planned this, and they were too stupid to think nobody would catch up on it.
Sometimes pretend to be your friend. Smiling faces show no traces of the evil that lurks within. Smiling faces, smiling faces. Sometimes they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces, tell lies, and I got
Yeah, that's what that is. I got bullied as a kid. I had people who I thought were my friends that betrayed me, and I had to deal with stuff. And you got to be mindful, like I said, every year, like the old saying, your skin folk ain't your kin folk. Certain people too, you got to cut ties with. But yeah, they're the lowest of the low. Just by leaving her tells me a real friend would have stayed, caught in the body. If you were a true friend, you would have first of all broke up that fight that started. Say, hey, you're not gonna do that to her. That's enough. Nobody's saying that in the video. And on top of that, you would have actually tried to, if she did truly die of alcoholic poisoning, I would have never left her body there like that. I'd have stayed with her and notified her parents until her parents came down and stayed with them. That's what a friend would do. These are not friends. And they can try and, I'm done. I'm a criminal. I'm, like I said, I wear my lawyer hat better than most people, but this was pathetic. You're a monster. And I'm hearing that the person who was fighting her allegedly had just recently had a baby. They need to pull your kid out of that home, if that's true. If you did all what you're suspected of doing, if it's true, yeah, they gotta go. If you have any final thoughts, Shawn, I'll let you go ahead.
I'm just absolutely disgusted by what I heard that happened to this young woman. And I'm absolutely disgusted that there are just, I mean, I think about what happened to me 35 years ago. And it just disgusts me to think that there are still people out here who could participate in that level of evil, and that the jealousy would lead to them going out here and being motivated to participate in this type of crime. I mean, and to go to these lengths, I mean, basically you're flying half to another country to kill someone. That just shows you that there's a special brand of evil going on right here.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Shawn has the book, The Woman Crisis, that's available on Amazon and other outlets. He has a live stream he does on Friday nights tomorrow. I don't know what his live stream is going to be about. He probably doesn't even have the topic yet. He usually has it by the time he does the live stream. But if you got a chance to tune in tomorrow. What time, Shawn?
It's going to be 11:15.
11:15. Tune in 11:15 Eastern time. Shawn, will you be joining us? I know Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we probably won't have the show then, but we probably may pre-record a show.
I'm not going to be able to make it Thursday night, so that's Thanksgiving.
Pre-recording it before Thursday.
Yeah, we might be able to do that on maybe a Wednesday or something like that. I'll see where my schedule has, because I'm real busy all week.
That's right. Well, same here. I'm gonna be busy. Speaking of which, being busy, ladies and gentlemen, you have time now if you want. Shout out to some chick named Star for the donation. If anybody else has a donation they would like to give for me for the channel, if you love the live stream, you know our channel is not monetized. We would love for your support. I got 20 votes so far, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking 10% say yes, you will vote for Donald Trump. 45% said no, and 45% say undecided. So it's starting to get like to thin out here. But so that means, yeah, there's a lot of people that are saying undecided about it. So they may come around later. But shout out to them. Shout out to Darius from Atlanta, Vulcan, all of you, Danielle. Did y'all, if we want, I can probably take one phone call. One phone call if you want to call in before we get out of here. 656-6760, 656-6760. The area code is 504. Some of our friends who are usually on this channel, you know, we don't see them too often anymore because they're at work. That happens. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at another video on Twitter where police officers, I don't know the details, but it looks like they shot and killed somebody in a struggle. I don't know the details of it. More is to come, but my brother Black Voltron had tweeted this, so I'm gonna bookmark it, but I don't know the details of it. So I don't like to talk about stuff unless I have some details. So nobody's gonna call in. I have the number up there. I guess we can leave it for there, Shawn. But
Yeah.
50% say no, so 41% say undecided. So I got 22 votes in. But Shawn, you have anything last minute you want to promote?
Well, The Woman Crisis is currently available in paperback right now, and you can get your copy of The Woman Crisis on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers in paperback, and you can pre-order your copy of The Woman Crisis on Kindle and other online digital booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play, and it'll be delivered to your device on November 29th.
Right. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you too, if you want to get some comedy, of course, get your laugh on. We got comedy coming back at the Well. I shared this flyer with you. This is November 19th at 7:00 p.m. I'm bringing funny back, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back to the Well. We have great comedians that'll be performing, from my man Brandon Haynes, Duke Relly. We have Corey Mosley and Chula Boo, ladies and gentlemen. This comedy just for you. We also may have some special guests coming out. So you don't want to miss that comedy night returning at the Well, ladies and gentlemen. I actually will is a flyer for you all this Saturday. We tried to do one. And also, if you could, why don't you come out to the Well? Bring a canned good as well. So we trying to feed the needy, yes indeedy, for Thanksgiving. I want to donate to a charity to give to people that can't afford it. So yeah, bring a canned good, preferably something that's good and tasty, not that no brand name stuff, but whatever you can bring, ladies and gentlemen. Comedy show at the Well. Get your tickets. Only $15 right now, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and get those. We're gonna get a lot of last minute sales, I think, Shawn, with this, because it's been a little slow. I won't lie, but a lot of people come at the last minute. But If you can, please buy a ticket. Come on out, ladies and gentlemen. That's another way to support me. Also, another way to support this channel is if you go and get you some Creole seasoning blends. Ladies and gentlemen, try it on chicken, meat, or fish. None of this goes great with every dish. You need to order some right now so you can get it just in time for the holidays. You don't want your turkey tasting like shoe. You don't want your turkey bland. You want your turkey salty. Well, less salty, but flavorful. You want a little spice. You want a little kick. You want some garlic in your life. Am I right, Shawn? You want garlic in your life before you carve with that knife. Get you some Nani's Creole Blends, ladies and gentlemen. It is good. It is great. It is good on every dish. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish, ladies and gentlemen. I did my catchphrase backwards. So that is Nani's, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, our songs got to get on up in Video Soul that are available on Amazon, iTunes, and Apple. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm working on new music as we speak. I'm actually going to have a song available just in time for the holidays, ladies and gentlemen. So we're working on that now. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get on up. Thank you to Shawn James and all. God bless you all. God bless Shanquella Robinson and her family. We want justice for this young lady. But guys, I'll go ahead. We'll wrap this up. You all have a great one. We love you. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Shawn.
All right. Thank you for having me.
No problem. This has been another edition of Gavin Richard Presents Random Topic Thursdays. And we are out this mug. I'll holla.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat.
On the dance floor is where we'll
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.